7:51 p.m.
Councilman Tucker?
Here.
Councilman Kennahan?
Here.
Councilman Padula?
Here.
Council Vice President Giroux?
He's here somewhere.
There he is.
He's on his way.
Council
Here.
President Goslin?
Here.
We have a quorum. Bid award for road bond project?
Fred?
Actually,
Resolution.
it's a resolution.
Yeah.
Oh, move the resolution.
Second. Move the second discussion. Fred?
So as the council knows, we put out,
Wait a minute, you gotta, Dave, to make this all legit, take a vote, we're all in favor of first and second, nobody voted yes. You got a first and a second?
Yeah, I said all in favor. Resolution.
Okay, yours, discussion.
yeah,
We got a first, second, we're in discussion now, then we'll go into vote.
yep. So we put out the RFP for the road construction project, and we received 4 bids, which you have in your packets. The bids range from, of the streets that we provided them, the low bid came in at 1.325,250, and the high bid on the list was about, let's see, just over 2.5 million. Based on a review of the proposals, which included myself, Dick Geldard, the engineer that we hired as a consultant to help us put the bid specs together, and Dave Lombari, we're recommending that the council award to Carty Corporation, which was actually, on lump sum value, was the second highest, our second lowest bidder. They were at 1.6 as opposed to 1.3, but based upon a few factors, not the least of which that I included in my memo, was on sheet number 28, page 28 of their submittal. The repair of roadway base course modified binder was priced as $22.50, where the low bid was over $40 for that item, which was really off base, and we fully expect that several of our roads, in the condition that they're in, we're going to require that, so that will be added cost. So based on that, and also we did some calling around to communities with the low, regarding the low bidder, and there were some issues with some of the contracting previously that they had with this bidder. So just out of our experience with Carty and the fact that their numbers on all of the items we felt were more advantageous for us as a bid to go with them. So that's why we're recommending them, but it's your decision. It's up for discussion, and
No, we had the work by other contractors. Carty always took care of us on different things, especially Mellow Street, when he got the other contracts, and there's a lot of hidden things that Carty's not charging for, if I'm reading that, and I discussed it with Fred. So I say we don't want to go through what we did 5 years ago. It's well worth the work that we're going to get for the price.
Okay, so someone down the road is going to say, well, you guys didn't choose the lowest bidder.
Yeah.
You know, what do you
Well,
got for Carty and but other than
You can
that?
prove the lowest bidder what happened, Brian.
Well, no, I'm just saying, does anyone here have any connections or anything to do with the Carty Corporation that for
I wish
any
I
reason
did.
other than logic and the reasons Fred stated that we wouldn't go with them?
I bought furniture from Carter Brothers.
different Cartys.
Because somebody's going to say it.
We'll be part owners in it.
I just want to make it clear, we look at the bids. These aren't total reconstruction of the roads. These are cold plain / repave.
correct. The
These
lump sum price is based only on Cold Plain repaving. But again, the majority, if you've driven down New London Avenue lately, on the Coventry side, you've seen where
Beirut.
where they've had that cold plain for quite a while. There's huge sections of that road that have had that binder course put in because when they cold planed, there was nothing left. And that's what we're talking about here. So if you're paying $40 per square yard for that extra work versus 22, you're going to see that bid rise up very quickly. And on the condition of our roads and based upon the analysis of both, Dave Lombari and the engineer that went around and looked at these, he said, you're gonna have a lot of that, so we wanna build that in. That's why we asked for that price as part of this bid, because we wanted to see what we're gonna be dealing with, for this extra work. So,
Can I ask a question about, did you talk to them about the timeline for this? Are they gonna be able to do all these roads?
yeah, everybody
by-
that,
Before winter?
yeah, everybody that bid, well, it's over a span of this year, this season and next season. It
Okay.
basically is what they're looking at.
And that's fine.
Yep.
But I just want to say right now that I think we've got to be fair about this.
Correct.
I think the last time everything was done in one ward, then another ward, then another ward.
No, we've
You know,
already
Just discussed 2 in one ward, 2 in the other,
That's
2 in
great.
the other, and
Yeah.
then back.
So that-
and rotating
because all the
around.
taxpayers pay for this.
And they'll
Absolutely.
see the work
They want
getting
to see
done.
some work getting done.
I agree, and we have discussed that, and we will, whatever contractor's chosen, we will meet with them immediately and set up a schedule for the roads that are on the list, and we'll reconfirm the roads with the council, and then we can add and subtract as we move along, as we're out there working. We can add additional roads
Yeah, good.
as the budget allows, but, I mean, the key is to get them out working as soon as possible so that we can get as many roads done as possible. Everybody that bid, we made it clear, we had a mandatory pre-bid, and we made it clear that if you could not start immediately, there's no reason for you to bid, because that's what we're
So
doing.
that's like one of the first phone calls you'll be making tomorrow?
Monday morning, maybe. we'll
Okay,
see.
so you have
Tomorrow.
18 months from the time the note is signed for financing, that's when the bond is issued, is that correct? And is that November 2015?
Correct, so we have 18
Okay.
months from,
Yeah, now realistically, you just have this year.
No,
You-
we have, it's from, you have the date,
You've
John?
got until like, what, June?
Yeah, there was, when we had actually gone through the bond process, I had given a schedule as an example, and we actually have up until, I want to say September of
2017?
17,
Okay.
because of the timing of it all and when it was
Okay.
issued versus, yeah.
Yeah, I
so-
was just worried.
I mean,
that
you
we-
can
If
see
we
when
got it
they-
last November, you'd be talking April of
Brian,
2017,
think-
and you're not going to be able to do anything.
You actually have, depending on
In
how
April.
soon and how quickly you spend the money, it can go up to
This-
24 months.
This-
So when we looked at it, we were good through September.
This company, whoever we decide, they got more crews. I mean, look how they went through Ward 1. I'll use my ward for an example, when Kent County Water put in 30 roads. I mean, they did that in a matter of 4 months. That was done. So,
I have a question, having not gone through this before. What type of overages do you expect in this? I mean, if you're just talking cold planing,
None.
a few drain issues here and there, and some other issues, yes, 10% are reasonable?
Figure 10%.
Yeah, and that's been built into the price as well. So they built some overages in, but it depends on the road, what we're going to experience. Certain roads that are really broken up, it's, we experienced that a little bit down on Industrial Lane when we repaved that. There were large sections that once we cold planed it, it was wiped out and they had to go back and put in the binder course. So it's going to be dependent road to road, but we built in contingency, but some might go over that, some will be far under that, so we'll have to play it by road.
So take into account what you've put in for contingency, put a little bit more aside.
At 10 more percent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I know there were roads I brought up, I know Angel Street, Harris Avenue. So they weren't put in there, so we're gonna probably take a look at them real quick.
So basically, once we sit down with the contractor that's chosen, we'll give them a list of roads to get going on right away, and those are the ones that everybody's clear on.
And we are making it perfectly clear to the water department, Kent County
Yep.
Water
And the
Authority,
gas.
And the gas and all the utilities, that if you get any work, you better let us know now before
Now.
we start.
and I'm
Absolutely.
glad Ed just brought this up, because off Phoenix Avenue, on some of the streets, I see yellow paint with gas. And them are the roads that Dave put on the list
Yep.
to get done.
So-
Schofield, Lowell Street, Upper Lowell, Lower Lowell. So,
There might be one on
How
there
many
up on the
lists,
hill, too.
Fred,
the
how many
water department.
lists are we operating on right now? Because Ward 4 goes back to 2014, and they're just getting to a lot of that stuff now. They're
Yeah,
on
so we're
Revere.
taking, they just awarded a bid for this season, which includes a lot of the roads in Edgewood, up Factory Street, and down that area, just about all of them.
Yeah, just, there's a couple of them leaving out,
Yeah,
but
and,
just about, I would say probably almost 99% of the
and then
roads
those
are
spill
probably-
over into Ward 4 as well, so you'll see some of those along the fringe. So we're getting the updated list for that, because we know those are being done this year. We're getting next year's list, and the year after, updated. I asked for an updated list last week from them. So we'll have that when we sit down with the contractors, and we're going to go through them all. And, I mean, we're going to do the best we can. This happened to us last time. We did Earl Street. They said it was on no list, and then the new list came out,
They're
and
doing
all of
it-
a sudden it was
They're
on.
doing it this year.
They went through-
I would have saved $115,000.
I would have saved about 200,000.
Yeah, and it's not the fact that they're going to do them over again. It's the fact that if we had known they were going to do them at all,
We'd have to do
we
those
wouldn't have spent
other
the
ones.
money, we would have done other roads.
Right.
Fred, I would also, at this point, when we decide which roads is getting done, that we send a letter to the utility companies right away, registered, so we know they got it, and
Tell them they're not gonna touch them for 5 years.
well, that's the thing. If they come back and say, listen, National Grid comes back and says, well, we plan on putting a gas line down this road, we'd like to work together on this, that's fine. I know they would, like I sent out an email the other day, they were digging up Renadette to do a gas service over there. We just put that road in 3 years ago, and they put gas service down into somebody's house, and they dug that road up the other day. And we still don't know who authorized it, so.
Just so you know, Dave Lombardi just texted me he's watching from home, so
I
this,
did.
so
It
this
is.
works. He just said that he notified both gas and water companies of the roads that we have on the list that we want to be doing, and that they have to notify us right away if there's any work to be done in the.
But they're responsible. We passed the
like
ordinance,
you said.
Dave, on that
It
road.
is.
Yeah, but listen, like,
That's great.
if we're doing a binder and all that on some roads, like a cold plane and an overlay is one thing, but if we reconstruct an entire road down to dirt, like North Pleasant or Pleasant Street, we put that down to dirt, we regraded everything, and then we paved it, and then I think 2 months into it, National Grid was out there doing tie-ins for gas to certain houses.
Well, they did the same thing on Hardin. A week after we paved it, they were cutting the road in half.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we just gotta try to avoid. I know it's not the easiest thing, but we gotta try to avoid as much as we
We
can.
gotta avoid it.
I mean, 4 years down the road, if they come in and somebody bought the house and they wanna tie into gas, we just gotta make sure they do it properly, that's all.
All right, let's get these things going over
All
here.
right, do I have?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to move the name of Cardi Corp.
No, second that.
Okay, I have, comment, yeah, comment, yeah. Just state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Tim Walsh. I'm from Smithfield, Rhode Island. I represent the Amber Construction. We were the apparent low bidder in this recent paving bid, and just want to give you a quick overview. We've been in business for over 40 years, public-private sector in the last year and a half. We've done roads in North Kingston, South Kingston, Charleston, Coventry, Exeter, Warwick, Cranston, Smithfield, North Providence. Those are roads that I've personally been on, projects I've been in charge of. DOT projects, too numerous to mention. Municipal contracts of the size and scope of this bid last year in the city of Providence, town of Barrington. Most recently, Barton Avenue Bridge over Route 2. We completed that 1 year ahead of schedule. Earlier, I listened to the arguments here about raising taxes. So now I'm standing here before you perplexed. My bid was $325,000 lower than Cardi Corp. Yet I listened to Mr. Presley here, and I know that he sent a letter to you recommending Cardi Corp. But I can't for the life of me figure this out. If we have all this trouble with taxes in this city and town, you're going to take a contract and you're going to award it to the second bidder at a cost of $325,000 at the expense of the taxpayers. I'd like a little bit further clarification from Mr. Presley regarding the basis of your recommendation. I'd also like to know why, if we were the low bidder, why we weren't contacted at all, yet you did seek out the second bidder to talk to them customarily. Well, obviously you said before that you did, that you spoke to Cardi, Am I correct, Mr. Padula, or not? Never said that? Okay. But you've talked to Cardi, though.
We've worked with Cardi
Again,
before.
why haven't you contacted us as a low bidder?
Councilman Padula said that we've worked with, I'm sorry, that we've worked with D'Ambra, we've worked with, previous,
Without mentioning their names.
you know.
You've mentioned other contractors. I
other
get it. I
contractors.
get it.
I can tell you, Miozy, we went through this.
I get
Us
it.
three, we've went through this road bond the last time, and we discovered a lot of issues with a lot of different companies. And, you know, and I think what Councilman Padula said earlier was he wants to go with the one that caused us less problems, less headaches, less lawsuits than before. That's what I think.
So you're saying it's personal
I'm not
history
saying
of this. You're
D'Ambra.
saying,
I'm
that's
not
what,
saying
that's exactly what you're saying. You're saying that.
We're doing what's best for the taxpayer
At
without aggravation.
$325,000 difference in the
Yes,
base
if
bid, I
that's what it matters,
believe,
because
I
in the
totally
long
believe that's
run-
not in the best interest of the
Well,
taxpayer.
if you look at the
One
bid,
In the long run, Fred, I want to finish.
Yep.
In the long run, it costs us more for litigation and with jobs that were disgusting, like people put it down with wheelbarrows and a stomper. We already been through it, like the president said. Me, Ed, and Dave been through this time and time again, where they come in, they're gangbusters, they're giving us the not good quality work. It's like a doctor. They all licensed, but you know, you go to a specialist for a heart, you go to a specialist for a liver. You don't go to a practitioner for a broken bone. You go to him for other things. So my opinion is, the less aggravation I had, we got calls, we get the calls. Not Fred gets the calls, this council gets the calls. When they go in people's yards and they dig up the driveway and do a half-ass job in plain English. And we get the calls, that's on us, because that's what they hired us to do.
Okay, so you've thrown out the competitive bid process entirely. Basically,
have
you're
the right.
you're most definitely undermining the competitive bid process.
Hold on.
All you had to do was contact
No,
us.
no.
All you had to do was contact us with any
Can I speak
questions.
now?
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Presley.
You know what? Hold on, hold on, just one
Sir,
second.
you have a right to your opinion, but you're not gonna involve a debate and get these guys to say things in the heat of anger, is what
I'm
I'm
not.
saying. You have a right to your opinion, you said it, if there's anything else that anybody wants to say in response to a question you may have, great, but if he's gonna make statements, he's entitled to his
I understand,
opinion.
and that's fine, but I just want to make it very clear, and like I said, and obviously you didn't listen to this part of it, was there were several components to this bid spec. One of them involved the lump sum bid for the various roads. That was one. And then we also asked for itemized prices for a series of services that they provided. And what the review team felt very clearly, and there was professional engineers with 20-plus years experience working for communities and working on these types of projects, that had a major issue with the price provided for a major component of those itemized lists by D'Ambra. And that was the roadway, the repair roadway base course with modified binder, that it was, and if you look at the other bids, the variation there didn't make sense, and it brought up a lot of concern, and that on top of the professional recommendation of the way that the rest of the bid was put together, their recommendation was Cardi. And again, our own experience in the recent history working with Cardi is that they're very efficient, they come in on budget or under budget, and that definitely played into this. I will tell you that. It's our experience working with the contractor and the professionalism, that was part of it. But just like we asked you for your work history, for everybody, that's all part of this decision. And we have to choose what we feel is the best firm that's going to provide the best service for the price. And that's the recommendation we made.
Sir, state your name for the.
At this time, the last thing, I'm trusting you all to do the right thing on this, okay? There is a bid process. We were the low bidder. If you had a question on anything, you could have contacted
A
us.
little bit on one item.
We were the low bidder on 3 out of 4. It was that one item that we weren't. Again, why weren't we contacted? If you had a question regarding it before this meeting, you should have contacted us, asked us the question, we could have addressed this. However, you didn't do that. All right? Just do what's best in the taxpayer's interest.
Well, we want to talk about the bidding process. I mean, we can't call you and negotiate rates after the bid's gone public.
Gentlemen, he's said his piece.
Yes, my name is Lee Taylor. I work for D'Ambra Construction. I'm the estimator, chief estimator. There's a little bit of confusion as to what the $40 square yard price represented. It was supposed to represent patching, okay? The base bid was lump sum for milling all these roads. The second price was a unit price to recycle completely the whole roads. That's where you go a foot down, recycle the whole thing, put base and top. And there was a third price, which was for replacing binder in certain areas. And if you go down these roads, you see little pieces here or there where, yes, you might have to take out the whole piece. That's a very small part of the job. Maybe on East Greenwich Ave, somewhere like that, you get a 10-foot by 10-foot piece. The $40 is a very cheap price for going out and doing a couple tons of patching, okay? And that's what that represented. The other price that wasn't brought up in a memo was Carty at a price of $1,850 to rebuild the tops of catch basins, which is more than double anybody else's price for that same thing. We were $900, Pawtucket was, I believe, $500, and Narragansett was $800. Carty was $1,850, which means when they go out, any catch basin that they rebuild on that whole job is going to cost more than double, okay? Other than that, we had the fair price, we had the best price, a competitive price. Nobody can argue in this place that our company doesn't do fantastic work. Show me otherwise. Maybe somebody had a beef years ago. I don't know. But be fair, you know?
You have a first and a second, Dave.
Did anybody second that first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ed did.
Any other public comment? I have a motion on the floor for Carty Corporation. Motion made by Councilman Padula, seconded by Councilman Giroux. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Have to deal with them, huh?
Okay, next item on the agenda, discussion action, town council compensation. Councilman Giroux and Councilman Padula, you asked for this to be on the agenda for discussion action?
I wasn't listening. What is this one?
Discussion action,
No.
compensation package. Yeah, you get something prepared for that?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Tim, use the mic, sir.
Council President. Ladies and gentlemen of the council and the audience, this undertaking was accomplished with full knowledge of the current 5-year plan and the litigation that the town's been involved in over the past 7 years, including the school department and pension litigation, litigation with the town's unions and retirees, collective bargaining issues, and overall financial situation that West Warwick has faced, is facing, and will face in the future. However, it is the duty of this town council to review all matters of financial matters, including their own compensation and/or compensation package from time to time. The town council is charged with determining the salary and benefits of all of its unions through collective bargaining and all of its department heads through the employment application process. The town council determines the salary and benefits of the town manager and the town solicitor. In 2014, the town council determined the salary and benefits of the town manager. 2013, the hourly rate to pay to the town solicitor. In 2012, the salary of the fire chief. It will not be a question of whether or not the town council will be compensated, as they are being compensated right now. Each member of the town council receives an annual stipend of $5,000. To my own personal knowledge, that amount has not been changed in over 30 years. The last time any modification was made to the town council's compensation package was the termination of health insurance back in the mid-'80s. I played out an example of the $5,000 that was being paid back in 1985, and I used 1990 as the year to start. And had that been adjusted every 5 years at 3%, today the council would be making approximately $5,970.27. That means they would get, over the 25 years that have gone past since 1990, a raise of $38.81 a year. If you divide that by 365 days, that's 10 cents per day. As such, I also looked at the legislative pay. By amendment to the Constitution, the people of Rhode Island in 1993 passed a referendum whereby in 1995, the General Assembly members would be paid a stipend of $10,000 a year. In 2015, 20 years later, that stipend is now $15,079. That $5,079 increase is a 51% in approximately 20 years. I also looked at minimum wage. In 1985, the minimum wage was $3.38 per hour. Minimum wage now is $7.25 per hour. The difference is a 114% difference. Per the request of individual town council members, I was asked to review the subject of compensation and/or a compensation package for members of the West Warwick Town Council. Compensation and/or the compensation package would be defined as salary, wages, stipend, health and dental insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, and retirement vehicles such as a pension, 401k, or a defined benefit or defined contribution plan. If the town council moves to address any of these issues, or all of them, it would be the advice of the town solicitor, present them all to the public through a series of workshops and public meetings. Obviously, the logistics of any of these single issues or all of these issues would be addressed through the due diligence of the town council and any person who wants to be heard on this matter between now and next May or June. That, if the town council moves to address any of these issues, these changes would be made in the form of an amendment in the Home Rule Charter. Said referendum questions will be placed before the West Warwick voters on the budget referendum vote, which takes place normally in May or June of 2017. The town council would not be approving any changes through an ordinance or a resolution. Should the town council vote to approve said amendments, the town financial director will be charged with determining the cost of said changes, whether an addition or reduction of the present salary amount of $5,000, or the addition of health or dental benefits and/or life and disability insurances or retirement plans, and then address any additional estimate cost to be applied to the FY18 annual town budget projections for next year. In the event nothing of any substance is derived from any of these public meetings and workshops, there may be no Home Rule Charter amendments to consider. When looking at the information, it's clear that the Home Rule Charter states that the town council will be compensated, and that's in section 406. However, prior compensation was done by ordinance, and again, has not been changed in more than 30 years. I also looked at information from the Internal Revenue Service, the Division of Taxation in Rhode Island, workers' comp insurance, TDI, and unemployment insurance, and making a determination as to whether or not any of those rules or regulations would apply to a member of the town council. So it would be in the town council's hands to address this issue, again, by having a workshop or a public meeting wherein one or all of the items that I've listed would be debated and discussed and determine whether or not they were going to be modified, or if there are any other forms of compensation that the council wants to address or members of the public want to address, the same thing could be heard. And with that, if anyone has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you, Tim. Nice job on that, and also, let me give you a little history. You know, the 13 years that I've been here, I can't remember a month going by or a few months going by without someone from the council say, man, we make 10 cents an hour. We got to do something about that. And this has been over the last 13 years. So I've always said, I agree, let's do something about it, but the people have to decide. We're not going to decide this. I think it would be improper, probably not only improper, but unethical maybe. It's always been that the people have to decide on something like this. So I'm pulling the trigger. I'm saying that we do put it, maybe not the coming ballot, probably too late anyway, but in the future, it could be next year too. We put it on the ballot, we work on it a little bit, see what we think would be fair and equitable, put it out there, and we might not all be here after the next election, who knows? But I think it's important, whether it's for us or not, I think it's important that it's for the future generations of the council too. We're way behind other communities, I mean, like when they talk about a pension, you're probably talking, if we go by today's standards, you're probably talking about $1,400 a year or something, I don't know. You'd have to be here for 10 years. vested. But in any case, I'd be lying if I said, it hasn't come up many, many, many times that we're undercompensated. And to do something like that, to change it, it has to go to the people. So I'm pulling the trigger on that, and it's up to the rest of the council to move on it. It could be something, it could be nothing. Maybe people will decide that, the 5,000 is enough. And there's argument that it's not. Some people would do this job for free. I'm sure our opponents will say they'll do it for free. But let the people decide. I think that's the right way, because it will have not a major fiscal impact on our budget. It's probably very, very small, but it is an impact on how the town will be run from now on, possibly with a compensation package like this. Maybe you'll get more people to run for the office. I think that's a good thing. That's about it. I don't want anybody to make a mountain out of a molehill here. We're just initializing the conversation on compensation. And again, let the people decide. If they decide no, that's the way it is. If they decide yes, then fine. So that's about it.
Well, I'm not to reiterate what Councilman Giroux said. I agree with him 100%. I think the people should decide, along with a lot of other things that people should decide, that this council decides, but I get the argument is...
Stick to the issue.
Now, I'm not going to reiterate, but I agree with this 100%. You get more people involved. I put 10 years myself. I know David put 10 years. Ed's been here longer, like he said, 12 or 13 years. So I would like to see it go in front of the people.
Anybody else from the council? I will say, Councilman Giroux, we have been here. We have heard it. We've heard Bert Mollahan get up and say, move it up to 10,000 or whatever. But again, things aren't too, by the way, I just want to reiterate something, Councilman Giroux. Paula actually called us and sent us out an email, and Fred sent us out an email earlier in the week. It's not too late to get any question on the ballot, but we need to get it done immediately. And I know one of the questions was to change the Housing Authority from 5 members to 7, with 1 representation from Clyde Towers and 1 representation from Robert Street. So that's something we need to put on that ballot. So if we can draw that. The pension board, we discussed that. Was that to move to increasing the number from 5 to 7? I think was another one we discussed. And possibly having representation from all unions on that pension board. Retiree, police, fire, municipal.
Yep.
I said retiree, that was the first one I said.
Also, the
So it could be a
housing.
9-person, yeah, the housing was
You
the
already said
first
that
one, yep.
You said that one.
So it'd be a 9-person pension board instead of a 5, and every party has a some sort of representation on that board. So those are 2 questions. Now, if you want to put a question on authorizing town council to look at compensation, but that doesn't say sets in stone, that means that gives us the authority to have those workshops, and then on the next ballot, next year.
I think you can do that already.
I mean, I'm
You
just
need
throwing it
authority
out
for
there.
that, yeah.
You
No, I
don't
understand.
need a referendum question to give you the authority to look at a financial matter. The council, the charter already allows you to do that.
But if they shoot us down right in the beginning, I don't have to waste my time with workshops from here until 2018, and who knows, I might not even be here, but,
Well, that's not how it works.
yeah, but, it's just.
Just put it on the ballot for the people to decide. Simple.
So those 2
Once and for
questions,
all.
I think, should be drafted up real quick and submitted to Paula, and the town clerk,
Paula here.
and Nicole.
Paula, when do we have, what's the date, drop dead date for the things to be sent to the Secretary of State?
For the ballot, I have to send it 2 weeks prior. So my next town council meeting is May 3rd. That's all I got.
Okay.
There's not another one this month.
So we gotta have it on May 3rd. The answer's by May 3rd.
Okay.
We have the
Two then.
26th.
The week before May 3rd.
Yeah, because that's get
The
posted.
week before
Yeah, we might have to
May
discuss
3rd.
it.
address the budget. Or when we have the budget.
All right, With that being said, I mean, like I said, I can agree that we can have workshops, and I know we're gonna disagree on some things, we're gonna agree on others, and, you know, I've had brief discussions with majority of you about this, and, we went back and forth, and, I mean, we agree and we disagree, and I think that's what a workshop is good for. I mean, you know, we may agree on some things and disagree on others. Do you guys have anything? Any public comment on that matter?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. See you Tuesday. See you Tuesday. All right. So you won't be here.
Technically that Wednesday. Do we even have a meeting?
We don't have next one.
No, the 26th?
The 26th, we have the sewer.
Yeah, but they're gonna give it to the rate increase, they're gonna blame us.
Yeah, right. We'll pass it on, but if you need something, I'll be back technically Wednesday. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
That was quiet.
Smile at.
Tim,
Oh, I just said, I'm dying.
I suspect that there will be $1,000 for that segment of the tape that says, we're